Now, here with me are 10 best assets to own 2024. I know right now you're thinking of something. Hey, what area can I be able to put my money so that at least my future is secured? Now, today with me on this video, let's talk about this. Let's talk about 2024 before it hits. We only have 2 months, the November month and then the December month, then we get ourselves the 2024. All right, so stick with me. And by the way, this information I'm sharing with you for free. I ain't charging you nothing to watch this video. All what I want you to do is free. It doesn't cost you anything. Hit that like button down below there. Yeah, there's a something looks like this. Hit that like button. And also down below there, you see there's something small written subscribe. It is in black. Hit that subscription button. And I know you're asking yourself, what's the importance of that? The importance of that is that whenever I upload a new good video, you get to be notified so you never miss any good video of mine. Let's get in the business now. The very first asset, and by the way, at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you my best, of which I feel like they are the best that you're supposed to pick. All right, so better watch this video to the end. Okay, number one is the real estate. This one no needs any introduction. You know it very well, and I know probably right now wherever you are, you're thinking of getting yourself to the real estate. But now I've divided into two. One, I have the physical real estate, whereby if you have the potential, you have the money, you have the financial muscle, you can go buy a piece of land, you can build, you can resell, you can get yourself into residential real estate, you can get yourself into the commercial real estate, whereby you be able to build and also sell those houses. You can also be able to build and rent them out and all those kind of things. Or if you do not have the amount of money to actually manage to raise like 10, 15, 20 or even 100 million to build those kind of commercial real estate and what have you, you can get into the rates. Yeah, I remember I made a whole video dedicating things to do with rates. You can check it out. It's another video, okay? The real estate, investment, trust, whatever, that kind of a thing, okay? So it's like buying shares in the real estate. These are big companies which invest in real estate. You can buy shares of those companies, and then once they invest, and then it's like, can you imagine this? Let's take this example. It's like there is a very big company that is building a KICC. But obviously at your capacity, you cannot be able to buy KICC or build a KICC. So you give them money, tell them, hey, take this part of my money, go build the KICC. So when we lease out the KICC and what have you, so I'll be part of that income. That's what the rates means, okay? Okay? All right, let's get to the next one. The second one is about the precious metals. And I know this one may sound a bit strange. You've never heard of it. Yes. Let me tell you one secret. Most of the rich guys, they usually invest in these things. The gold, they buy silver, they keep it by themselves, they buy platinum, they buy bronzes and what all those kind of things, and then they keep it. Rather than just keeping money in liquid form, keeping all your money in a bank, keeping all your money in one thing. See, for example, right now, people are anticipating a lot of things to happen, like, hey, recession, I don't know, bankruptcy in a given country and all those kind of things. You never know how this can turn out to be. But remember one thing, there are some precious metals that their values never change. And if they do, it's not really affected by the governments and what have you. And these precious metals are the golds, they are the silvers, they're the platinums and all those kind of things, diamond. So you can actually go ahead and invest in these areas. You can buy, if you have the capacity. Right now, I think a kilo of gold goes, is it a kilo or an ounce of gold goes for around close to 300 Gs and all something of. You can check it out, okay? There are companies that usually deal with real golds. If you go to these big, malls and what have you, you go to those guys who are selling these things, you can be able to get this commodity and you can actually store it. Yeah, and maybe not physically, but you can, be able to store it in reserves and all those kind of things. It's like the way we usually keep or preserve our precious documents in areas like banks and what have you. So you can as well preserve these metals and you can be able to resell them in the future. And by the way, I know this one may sound like a totally strange thing, you've never heard of it, yet it's an area where you can be able to buy and keep it and be able to resell it later. Well, okay, this is information that is not actually out there, but if you check it out, it's actually available, okay? I think maybe I'll make a whole video talking about these things so that at least you may understand exactly what you can be able to do, all right? Let's get to the third one. It's called stable commerce or stable currencies, e.g. like CHF, that the Swiss franc. By the way, before I even explain what are these stable currencies, stable currencies mean these are currencies that, globally, they are regarded to be the most stable currencies. They don't fluctuate compared to other currencies, okay? So they are called smart currencies and what have you. So these currencies, you can actually, invest in them. And let me tell you one secret. These currencies are actually, if you go to any typical bank in Kenya, you'll always see that board whereby they are written this amount of money, buy this currency, sell or whatever, all those kind of things. You can actually get yourself this account so that at least you'll be able to make some things at the end of the day. Can you just imagine where our shilling is compared to a dollar? I made a video last time. I told you guys open a dollar account, like talk of like 5-6 months ago. and it was around 119 or 120, 121, around there. Right now, we are talking of up to 150. Okay, and you can even actually sell more than 150 Kenya shillings. So that's not only keeping your money in a different areas, but also sort of an investment, because you've made like close to 30 shillings. Okay, that's an area that you can be able to do what? To make some money. So now these stable currencies globally, examples are the CHF. This is Swiss franc. This is money for the Switzerland, yeah. And obviously, if you do not know that Switzerland is actually the capital city of the banking system on earth. All right. So it's called Swiss banking, whatever and what have you. So GPP, that is Great Britain pound. You can also put your money into dollar. You can put your money into JPY, that's Japanese yen, and what have you. All right. You may realize that the Japanese yen value and the Kenyan shillings are like 1:1. Yeah, but if you compare the strength of it, not really strength, but at least stability and what have you, find the Japanese yen is actually what? Quite kind of far much stable compared to the Kenyan one, okay? Now, let's go to the fourth one. The fourth one, this one doesn't need any introduction. I've been talking about it millions times. That is the bonds, the bills, and what have you. I've been talking about these things, how you can be able to invest, what are they, and all those kind of shenanigans and what have you. So you can actually go ahead and check a whole video dedicated for the bonds and bills, and you can be able to invest. Bonds, you require 50,000 minimum with an exemption of IFB. That is infrastructure bond. On the bills, you require a minimum of 100 Gs, and there is a whole video dedicated for that information. You can check it out on this channel. That's why I said, hey, being a member of this channel, you don't miss those kind of information. So it's quite amazing and important. So hey, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscription button and like this video if you're getting a value up to this particular point. All right, let's get into the next one. Now, the fifth one is about commodities. This again is not popular to majority of you guys, okay? But you can be able to buy commodities of these areas, okay? That is the likes of the oils. Right now, can you just imagine oil in Kenya? We are buying. Okay, fine. I know we don't fuel our cars with oil. We fuel them with gas, like the petrol, the diesel, and what have you. But it's all a product of what? Oil. And if there is an increment in production of oil, then it means there is a ripple effect to those guys who are consuming these commodities. So if you can invest in these things, okay? These are commodities. You can do them through using a regulated brokers, okay? And we have a lot of them on earth, not only in Kenya. You can buy these commodities and keep them, because anyway, for those who trade forex, they can actually tell, hey, commodities are actually available. You can even trade the likes of the gold. You can trade silver. You can trade oils. Some even agricultural products are regarded as asset that you can keep. For example, there are two products on earth that are very, very sensible and sensitive to humanity. That is the wheat and corn, aka maize. So if you can be able to invest in these areas, are actually quite stable and wonderful areas, because wheat is regarded as one of the cereals that consumed at the highest amount in terms of the percentage globally. Okay, so wheat, corn, these are areas that you can be. And I know you are like, okay, when I say I invest this, do I mean I buy wheat or what? I keep it in my store? No, I don't mean that. Come on, I mean get yourself a regulated brokers, and we have them in Kenya, a lot of them actually, and then buy this commodity online, and then they stay there. It's like the way you buy shares of a given company. So you buy these commodities, they stay there, and then once the values actually stabilizes, goes up and what have you, you can sell them and all those kind of things, okay? It's like it's like investing in some things that we're gonna check later, okay? So I don't mean like buying oil, like literally you go buy oils in those barrels, and no, I don't mean that. I mean like going online, buying these commodities, and then stay. By the way, we have a lot of guys who have been made millionaires by trading oil. It's true, they trade oil. All right, maybe for example, you may realize maybe a barrel. I didn't check when I was making this video, but you can check it later. A barrel of oil right now it goes forward. There was a time it was way above $110 a barrel of oil. Okay, so make sure that you check all those commodities. Those are areas that you can be able to do what? To invest with or on. Now, we go to point number 6, stocks, index funds, ETFs. These are other areas that I usually talk most of my time. And I usually say these areas actually view them as points whereby you can be able to invest for the purposes of long time, for the purposes of the sake of your future and all those kind of things. And I know probably you're watching this video and you're wondering now, Joseph, okay, fine, you're making a wonderful video. I love watching your videos, but I think all these things require like a lot of money. No, they don't require a lot of money. If you're a mason, if you are just a common mwananchi, if you're just a common individual, you do not have hundreds of thousands of money. You can be able to invest in these areas, for God's sake, okay? You can be able to invest in stocks, shares, even even with like 500, you can buy shares. 1,000, 2,000, 10, and above, you can be able to buy what? You can be able to buy shares. Likes of the, likes of the, what we call, like, these things that I'm going to talk about, the index funds, you don't require a lot of money. You can be able to invest as low, likes of the mutual fund, of which I'm going to discuss it later. You can be able to invest with as low as you can. So don't feel like, hey, Joseph, it's nice video, but I don't have money. No, don't excuse yourself, okay? Okay, are we together? Fine. Let's get to the next one. Okay, the other one is about, okay, index fund. First of all, before I even move on, index fund is like, instead of now buying stocks of one given company. So when you buy shares, for example, if you go buy shares for, let's say, East African Breweries, if you buy shares for, let's say, Stanbic Bank. So instead of you now buying stocks or shares of that given one single thing, so index fund is like all those companies are put together. Now you buy their shares collectively. Yeah. What do I mean? Like, it's like investing in EPL, whereby we have the Premier League, like we have all the teams. So instead of investing in one team, like you're investing in the EPL itself, the entire kind of a thing. Am I making sense? Yeah. That's what we mean by index fund, okay? Now, the other one is collectibles. Collectibles here, we mean like, old cars, like watches. But have you ever seen rich people usually buying watches worth millions of money? And this is quite interesting if you've never known. Do you know it is very hard for you to actually bypass some customs or borders of most of the countries on earth with like $100,000 or $200,000 in a suitcase, because people may regard you're doing what we call the money laundering and what have you. But you can bypass that place with a $500,000 watch, and yeah, you may be required to declare, but at least you can be able to pass the. Sometimes they can even disregard and you just pass, okay? Because, for example, you don't know how much these watches cost. It may look as if it's just an average watch and what have you, but you never know. Some of the watches you see on the streets are actually way expensive, and this is one way of how rich people hide their money. You can't tell. Somebody can just bypass with a watch and another wrist on his hand. Maybe this one is worth $500,000, the other one is worth like 200. The guy is just crossing the border with close to $1 million. That's like 150 million Kenyan shillings, and you can just pass the borders and what have you. It's another way of actually investing your money. Have you ever seen some guys who invest on old cars? We call it, I don't know, the cool Delegans or whatever. There is usually a show in Kenya where people showcases their old cars and vintage cars and what have you. Those are things that they can actually fetch you money in future. Collectibles like arts. I know this one may not resonate with the majority of people. Have you ever seen some auctions where they are selling arts? Arts, let me just use a common language in Kenya. Pictures. When you go to street, like if you go to Pale Ivonini, the archive area, you find some guys are selling some, let me just call them pictures, for the purpose of common knowledge, but we call them arts or the drawings or what have you. However, you understand this message. So there are some people, have you ever seen like the Mona Lisa art is sold for over hundreds of millions of dollars? And you're like, what's the value of that thing? I can't see anything worth 400 million there, but they'd still buy it. That's what we say, okay? Now, the point is this: you can actually hide your reach, or you can be able to put your money in those kind of areas, okay? So those are just but examples of areas where we call them the collectibles, the old cars. You can put your money into, the arts. You can put your money into watches and all those kind of things. Rare coins and all those kind of things, okay? You can put money and you'll be able to liquidate that. I know that one has not really penetrated in Kenyan market, but hey, guess what? This is Good Joseph channel. I have to tell you, you can think on that lineage, okay? By the way, if you watch some shows in America, like, I don't know, Pawn Shop and whatever, you find them selling like strange things. Someone can just sell a cup, maybe because it was signed by somebody like Mike Jackson. They are selling that cup for hundreds of thousands. Okay, so those are areas that you can be able to make some money. Okay, now the other one, number 8, is actually what we call the mutual fund. Mutual fund, under this mutual fund, we have a lot of mutual funds. Example of it is the money market fund. And I don't want to talk about money market fund. I know I've been talking about this a million times. So let me just bypass it and go to the next one. If you want to know more about the money market fund, watch my previous videos or my older videos and you can be able to tell exactly, hey, what did I mean by that? Next one is about pension and retirement. No matter what age you are, one day you're going to retire. That's for a fact. The earlier you accept, the better you do. So why don't you invest on the pension funds? Why don't you invest in these like retirement funds and all those kind of things, okay? The last one but not the least is that you can invest in what? In the startups and private equity. Or equity, depends on your English teacher. Now, what do I mean by this? Like, you can pick an upcoming company, you buy an equity in that given company. It's risky, I understand, that's very true. But what I said is like you don't invest all your money in one area. So you can be able to pick that area and be able to do something and also grow yourself to the next level. I did promise you something when I was starting this video that I'm going to share with you some of which I regard as the best. Fine, let's go straight to the point. Number one, I love shares. Number two, if you have the money, you can invest in real estate. Number three, I love bonds and bills because they are one of the safest areas where you can invest your money. The other one, I can actually go ahead and invest on what? Money market fund. Those are just bad examples. And guess what? If you have the capacity and also connections, hey, why don't you grab yourself some silvers and gold and keep it by yourself? So those are just bad examples of the areas where personally I regard them as safe and secure. Okay, so for now, it's a goodbye. But don't forget, if you'd like more information, if you're like, okay, fine. Hey, Joseph, how can I reach you? I would like to have a conversation with you. Yes, I'm open. You can always do so. How do you do that? My number is always on the description of this specific video where they say, hey, I'll pin a link and whatever. So now my number is that particular place. Give me a call. Let's conversate. Obviously, at a cup of coffee's price. And also, I do have booklets majorly on these kind of areas, okay? So if you'd like to get a copy, it's only $280 for now. See you in the next one. But don't forget, comment down below, tell me what you think. And if you've gotten to subscribe, do so and like this video. See you in the next one.